These pictures are of, well, he used to be the owner of Angel Mountain Recording Studio, and he's a client of mine. Um, and his name's Gary Sloyer. Now, what's interesting about these pictures of his, this is all his brand new studio that he had built in his house. Pilsner Schuster designed it. And again, when you hire a designer, you can see the detail work of everything has its place. Everything is integrated and all makes sense. The air conditioning, the heating, and everything's picked out. They're almost like interior designers, but acoustically, and they organize everything. So there's all the different pictures of his different rooms, and there's a couple pictures at the end that are of his previous house, and you can see there too. Pilsner Schuster did the design work there, and it was a nice composition suite. But I can't stress enough how important studio designers are. I remember when I was putting a studio together for Tom Kiefer from Cinderella. He was in Nashville, and I was telling him that he should hire a studio designer. And he said, but I don't really, I'll just figure it out. And I said, the organization, the air conditioning and the, picking everything out, and it just organizes the job and it makes it more efficient putting it together. And he thought that was a good idea, so he hired Pilsner Schuster to do the work, and they did do the work for his room, and it turned out great. It was all black and purple. I'll see if I can find pictures of that, because that was a really nice studio too. But the one thing about studio designers, and I've dealt with a lot of them. When I was at Sigma, I had to deal with a bunch of them when we were talking about redesigning Sigma. I dealt with Studio Bauton and was it Harris? I forgot their name, but there was like 5 or 6 different studio designers, and they all get excited and they all have great ideas, and they show you their renderings, which look fantastic. But the most important thing about a studio designer, and I think if you're going to get one, go and listen to one of their rooms and talk to the people that their room was built and see if it sounds good to you. I mean, do you hear any fluttering? Do you hear any staining waves? Because there's a lot of times the studio will look fantastic. It will look really great, but it doesn't sound right. And that's a big problem, because you've already paid the studio designer. They supplied all the drawings. You've built the whole place. So if there's something wrong, they're not coming back to fix it. And you're not going to tell anybody that there's anything wrong with your room. But over time, as clients come in, they're going to figure out this room doesn't sound right. And there's a big studio in Philadelphia that was done that way. I don't want to say who the designer was, but it didn't take long for people to go, you know what, the room sounds horrible. I can't. And the room looked gorgeous, and it was on the cover of Mix magazine, but it just did not sound right. So the other thing, these studio designers all excited. Like I said, they have their renderings and that. But the most important thing about these studio designers, other than, the room has to sound right, is that they deliver the drawings on time. Because there was another studio I was involved with that the studio designers, they did all the preliminary stuff and it was great. But the drawings had to come in on time because we had construction crews waiting for these drawings, so they knew what they were supposed to do. Because it was a big, multi-million-dollar facility. And when you don't have the drawings come in on time, you halt everything, and it costs a huge amount of money to the people that are trying to put the studio together. And the designers don't absorb any of that money. So, they get paid, and, you could argue with them, but you're kind of married to them, and you can't get out of the deal because you can't do 50% of the work and then switch designers. I mean, I guess you could do it, but it's not the way it's supposed to be done. I mean, really, these designers have to hold to their word. So that's important. That's why it's important to talk to someone that used them before, to see, did they supply all the drawings on time? Were they receptive when you called? Did they take your call? Because at the beginning they all want the business, but it's the people that follow through all the way to the end that make the difference. So, but I'm kind of rambling here, but this is a picture of Gary Sloyer studio, which is it came out very nice looking. Okay.